Hi, welcome to Inge's Knitting Lab and this series on how to make the tree trunk cardigan. This is the cardigan using my form and fit European shoulder design, the unique design tailored for each individual size. However, in this episode we will not talk about the shoulder techniques. Now it's all about the steeking and preparing for the button band. So what is steeking actually? Yeah, well, it's a method designed when doing cardigans, so that instead of the traditional way working back and forth because a cardigan is open in the center, you introduce what you call steeking stitches to be able to continue working in the round until you reach the bottom hem. Afterwards, you secure the stitches from unraveling. Then you can cut it open and start working the button band. So that's in short. And this method is particularly practical when you are doing multi-color work or fair isle work. But I also find it very useful here in this project because to me it is a faster knit when I work in the round, and I also tend to knit more evenly when I do it in the round compared to working back and forth. So that's why I have introduced the steeking method in this cardigan. If you want to see how you can play with different colors and how to do the button band, cuff and hem, then please have a look in one of my other episodes. Let's start as usual to have the overview of the steeking step by step. I use 4 steps here. First, the steek preparation, the crocheting, sewing, cutting and trimming. And you may wonder why I do both here, but I will get back to it and I will try to explain the why and the purpose of the different steps, because every little detail matters. For each of the steps we do here, preparing the steek, we have the next step in mind, because early steps will influence the look of the cardigan and the finishing detail that you want for your project. If you haven't done steeking before and you don't quite feel confident using this method on your finished project, then I will highly recommend you to make a small sample and walk along with me during this process so you get accustomed to it, and eventually you will feel confident doing it on your project. You can rest assured it's not difficult, it's not complicated, it's just new if you haven't tried it before. So let's get back to the why and the purpose. So starting with the steek preparation, we actually already started here when casting on the 3 center stitches here for the steek, and the second one when we do the bind off here while starting the lateral braid. So why do I use 3 stitches, not 5, not 7? I tell you why. Because the purpose here is to get as little bulk as possible. Let me show you on this finished cardigan. So when you wear the cardigan, you will not feel extra bulk here where we did the cutting and the folding and sewing on the steek. So it feels the same here as on the button band. And when we look at the wrong side of the project, besides the finishing detail, that the steek looks like this knit line here of the pattern, it is very in line with the fabric here, and this is a result of the crocheting and the sewing of the fold here of the steek. So as little bulk as possible. Yeah, and why divide here? Why don't you continue working in the round until the end? It's because when you pick up stitches for the button band, it simply looks better when you do it like this. Step B, the crocheting. As I said earlier, the crocheting step is introduced to secure the stitches and prevent them from unraveling when we cut it open. And this is the functionality purpose. Then we have the finishing look purpose. And let's have a look here. I will go much more into detail when we get to it in the next episode. But just to tell you, we catch stitches in the chains here going in one direction, going in another direction. And the way we do it is again to minimize bulk here at the steek, but also to give you the finishing look. Let me show you again. Because here I used a contrasting color. So the steek is like this, made in the orange color. And when I sew it on, I also use an orange color and it gets to look like this. You can also just do the crocheting in the base color of your cardigan, also sew it on in the base color, and then it will look like just this. I guess everything I do both have a functionality purpose and a finishing look purpose. So yeah, there's the purpose of every little detail that I do. Even this tiny slip here, how you start the crocheting, but we will get back to it. So what about the sewing then? You might think, well, you have already crocheted the steek, so you have secured it from unraveling, so why the sewing? Yeah, well, again, it has two purposes. One is the functionality, because when I do the sewing down this chain here and this chain, it will have a nicer look when I cut it open. In this yarn, if I cut it open before I block the sweater, which I do, then it tends to kind of like slide. It doesn't unravel, but there you may get a bit of a gap when you pick up the stitches for the button band. And I'm a bit picky about these details, so this sewing helps me when picking up stitches, but certainly also, again, when I sew on this one, it looks nicer. If you don't have a sewing machine, it's no problem. I would probably recommend you to block your sweater first. We will get to it, and then cut open. But I will do the sewing here in the center of the stitches. And step D here, the cutting and trimming. Well, isn't it just do the cutting and then move on? Yes and no. Of course you do the cutting, but when you then trim these ends, it does matter how you do it, how close, how far. We will get back to it. Because either you get this very sharp look here, you see, or it can look a bit kind of fluffy or not a clean edge, and it matters to me. So I made one where I did the cutting in a different way to try it out. Unfortunately, I cannot show it to you here because I already gifted this prototype away, but I hope I can find a photo to add in. Yeah, well, you may feel that it's a lot of talking, but I feel like it's important for me to tell you these small details, because otherwise you may get back to me saying, hey, it doesn't look like this, what is it? So yeah, you will learn all the little tiny details about it, the design. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode and figured out all the small details here. Otherwise, leave me a comment, contact me, and I will help and guide you. Bye bye for now. Happy knitting.